Today's Bible in 1 Year reading has the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus' world-changing, life-changing teaching, a vision, if you like, for what it could look like to have him at the centre of your lives and at the centre of our world. And the words he is going to teach is incredible, but actually just the context is really good news as well. It says this: seeing the crowds, he went up on the mountain, and when he had sat down, his disciples came to him, and he opened his mouth and he taught them, saying, and then he launches into the Beatitudes. Now, what's encouraging about this is I think sometimes we can think that Jesus is teaching to people who are ready or willing or have the same hopes and desires. But actually what you see here is there were a lot of crosswinds going on here. The word for crowd here is oklos. It means the common people, a multitude, a rabble, a mob or a throng. Like, they don't have a common purpose. Like, the word here is derived from the word echo, meaning a vehicle to be carried along by the crowd. The kind of most modern kind of thing we could probably relate to is a football crowd. They're all going along in vaguely the same direction. We've had to keep the supporters apart, so at least they all kind of hope for the same outcome, but they have different expectations of how that's going to come about, different expectations of if that's going to come about. But kind of what unites them is they all have this want or desire for an outcome, for a win, really. And I think that's an amazing picture, because when we look at our world, there's all these different wants and desires, and kind of we all want the win, but we think it's going to come in different ways by different means. We probably define that win in a different way. Definitely not the way that Jesus describes what a winning life looks like. But the good news is that's the very context that Jesus speaks into. If your family or your team or just around you today is a bit of an oklos, a bit of a rabble, Jesus wants to speak into that. And that's his plan for bringing unity. But also, as well as outside, this is me. This is my internal world. My internal world is a bit of an oklos. I have different competing desires, different competing wants. They're all kind of at each other sometimes. And Jesus wants to come, and part of his solution to that is to speak into your life, to teach into your life. And the demands Jesus make is going to be big. Like, this is challenging teaching, but the demands Jesus makes are an expression of his love for us, because he wants us to have life in all its fullness. Now, I think the questions this lands for me is, in what ways am I carried along with the crowd? What do I think will make me happy that Jesus says here, nah, that's not going to work? And also, so where there is Jesus saying, let's go in a different direction together. Now, I think the weird thing about this passage is Jesus lists a load of things that we would definitely not think of as a blessed scenario to find yourself in. But really, and there are lots of different reasons why you're blessed in those, but the simplest one is they're blessed because Jesus is there. He's present. So if today you're in the middle of an oklos, the middle of a crowd, or your internal world feels a bit dispersed, a bit of a crowd, lots of anxiety, he's with you. He sees you, he knows you, and he's with you. And because of that, we can be blessed.